Missile can be very effective, and Broodlords can't really do much about Sync Missile. Here we go!
대왕의 길을 열고 있어요. 지금 버텨면 안 돼요. 등장이죠.
It's it. Here takes it. The unsuspecting.
Today's matchup. Ro. Nightmare. ByuN. Zoun. Most competitive 1 versus 1 game. Africa TV Freak Up Studio Live. GSL Season 1. Code S.
Group C comes to a final best of 3. It's ByuN versus Zoun, and I think you guys already know Artosis and me are on the same page. I think Zoun has a very obvious shot at moving on. I think ByuN as each game passes, and again, he's not bad, but it's like I'm watching the same movie over and over again. You know,
it's actually, I have to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed.
It's one of those movies where one guy he's going to attack and then he puts half his army in medevacs, and the other guy's on 3 bases.
Yeah.
You know those movies.
He's not taking into account anything that's going on in the game.
Well, yeah, he's very much like running on a computer program or something.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like got a thing that he does, and that's what he does, and sometimes it wins and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think that Zoun is definitely like stronger than Nightmare, cleaner than both of these guys.
I think Zoun clearly looks better, but we got to see how these games go.
You never know. ByuN might just pull it out.
Yeah, or he might mix it up. You know, he might realize the errors of his ways. We're going to see, guys.
2022
let's get this going.
GSL Season 1. Shopify Rebellion. ByuN. Alpha X. Zoun.
All right. Zoun checking for possible proxies.
And by the way, before we get too far into this, I just want to say, I'm hoping we see more Nightmare.
Yeah.
In another season. I think it's, you know, he had some kind of pretty big fails tonight, but, you know, that's really unavoidable unless you've really had so much stage time. I mean, one of the great things about GSL is that because this is so old, we really have a long history of great stories and great matches. But, you know, we've had a lot of the same names, and those players have become extremely comfortable playing and competing in a studio like this. And, you know, when you get a player like Nightmare, this is a guy that's probably watched every GSL and been playing, you know, and he played with the pros, no doubt. It's not like they didn't know who he was before he, you know, managed to get this far. But, you know, he comes in here and it's like, it's that weird moment where it becomes real. Like, oh my God, I'm doing this, I've qualified. And that's usually when you see players get a little bit shaky, maybe make some questionable plays they would not have normally made on ladder or in practice games. But you've got to take those losses and you've got to come back. You got to treat it like an RPG. You've leveled up. You get the experience points after the battle, win or lose. Fill those into your stats and come back. So, you know, you had a good run. And now we're left with just ByuN and Zoun. Unsurprisingly, Rogue's already moved on.
Yeah.
And he looked like a Rogue win when he did it too. And again, Nightmare did take that one game off of Rogue. I think that was kind of one of the weirder looking games from Rogue, but he did it. So the kid's got a lot of potential. Now, with these two players, I just feel like Zoun looks more like the complete package in general. That matters more, I'd say, in a best of 5 than a best of 3, but I think it's still going to play a role here. And what you pointed out in the earlier game that ByuN was playing in against Nightmare Artosis, I think was really important, is that ByuN, every game, has stayed 2 base, pushed out, gotten 2 medevacs, fractured off part of his army, dropped the main. And why does that matter in the game against Nightmare? It matters because ByuN did a Widow Mine drop that killed literally 12 probes immediately, which is the best thing a Widow Mine drop can do. Like, that basically is a win. And then he did the same thing again later on. He fractured off the army.
It wasn't even just that. It was also a DT drop opener that didn't do anything into Colossus 3 base. So it was like no units and no economy.
The reason why splitting your army off into 2, and this goes back to the basics, you know, of the game, is that you don't need to split it off into 2 because they don't have anything.
Yeah.
When you split your army into 2 parts, you're trying to avoid the fact that they have a defender's advantage and have better stuff, and all the tools that Protoss have to defend and the positions and everything. You just go kill them because you basically won. In fact, the only way you could make the game be more drawn out is to actually split the army up and attack a bunch of different spots.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we had back there. And that's, I think, where we're drawing a lot of the current criticism from ByuN here now is like, man, I feel like Zoun is going to be way more punishing of a player than the Nightmare.
Yeah. Now, to mention about this game, because I definitely agree with everything you just said there, this was a hidden 3 racks opener from ByuN. So he actually has a rather sizable army. His combat shields and stim are still being made. You see immediately Zoun is coming up here and trading what he can. But he did go for Blink and a very fast 3rd base. So army-wise, ByuN has way, like a really big advantage army-wise, right? But there is Blink. So let's see like how much he can slow him down and everything. ByuN looks like he's turning around now. He may end up waiting for medevacs and going with a really large force. Yeah, and although the build is a bit different, it's got a lot of the same themes, doesn't it? Powering on 2 base. Yep. Looking for a fight down the road here. This is a very popular ByuN build. Like, he has used 3 racks openers so many times.
I can think of a couple games in the past we casted where he did stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah.
On some maps better than others.
And I think it's not a bad choice for this map, for this situation. But you can see that Blink is whittling him down a little bit. I think we're going to see Colossus here. I don't think Disruptor is a good call at all. I think this is a Colossus moment for Zoun. I think so. I think you need to get... You need steady damage against this. You need a stopper right now. Yes. If you miss 1 Disruptor shot, you might actually lose the game. So there you go. He is going Colossus. He is still microing really heavily against this. I'm a little bit surprised that ByuN remained out here against the Blink. Like Zoun's Blink Stalker micro, he's very good at it. And it seems like ByuN is just kind of like had his army whittled down a fair amount. His army is still pretty big, but I mean, he lost a lot of units there. I'd actually love to see the units lost tab just to drive that home. First 2 medevacs are going to be coming out, and that's going to be his power spike. And look at his supply, man. Like, it's pretty darn big. Observer sees this, comes out, pick off some more units. Every unit he picks off here is so incredibly important because his army is quite a bit smaller. He's on a bigger economy as well. There we go, the 2 medevacs. Yep. And that's a good moment to attack in there for Zoun. Try to get some hits. And so far, truly, ByuN hasn't done any impactful damage at all. No, he hasn't managed to fly into a main and take any fights. The 3rd base is going to come down. 2 medevacs inbound towards the main. I don't know what's actually back in the main right now either. There are 4 zealots headed over here to the soon-to-be 3rd base. Okay. That's being made on site, so to kill the SCV and maybe start to damage the CC, if that is intended to pretty quickly, that's going to become a big issue here. Yeah. Look at this. Charge lot's coming in, slowing down this 3rd CC. The medevacs are waiting up at the top, and there are a group of stalkers. There is a group of stalkers in the main base here of Zoun. He's going double forge. If he, like, destroys those 2 medevacs, he's going to be so far ahead. Because double forge plus Colossus against the slower tech here of ByuN, that's going to be very, very rough. But okay, now ByuN is being very patient with this double drop that he split off. This is, I know it's double drop again, but it is very different from the way he was doing before. He's not just sending it in. He's bringing an actual force with him to this third.
Much later in the game he's doing this.
Even though those have been sitting there for as long as we've seen on the other games, like, but he went in right away.
He didn't overcommit.
It's very different because of that. Now here we go. He's dropping in. Stalkers are here. Warps in a few Zealots. Yeah, it seems like Zoun will be fine there. Now we have the main engagement starting to occur.
Oh, ByuN runs by. Big arc here. And it seems like ByuN's got himself into a pretty good spot. He could start to just tear up the natural here. He's kind of cut the 2 defending armies in half. Now Zoun comes in and takes out the tanks. And you got to keep in mind, there isn't an easy escape route here, but I don't think he needs one. He's just going to dive right under these tanks. The batteries can't heal in time.
Beautiful moves here from ByuN. GG.
GG. ByuN takes game 1, and that looked like a much better ByuN.
Yes, the other games he just kind of flew in as soon as he loaded the medevacs. Here he cleared observers, he sent the medevacs up, he reinforced the main army several times, including additional medevacs. He moved in, did them both at the same time, and he actually got the damage done here. He got Zoun a little bit out of position. Zoun's army was at the 3rd, he ran up the ramp and had a couple tanks that zoned everything out. And the Zealots kind of charged over more towards the tanks or something that I didn't get to see exactly because we didn't see the whole battle, but much better executed game there from ByuN. Even though parts of it are the same ideas, that is much more what it should be looking like.
Yeah. Well, I think it was waiting for the right setup, not having a bunch of random tanks in the drop at the top. You know, it was a much cleaner, better play here from ByuN. And Zoun, you know, I didn't expect him to lose in as much of a straightforward fashion, but he did.
Yeah, the pressure might be on now. If ByuN is able to take this, man, that's pretty big news, because I think Zoun, again, I rate him about 3rd best Protoss in Korea. We don't have any Protoss in the next round yet. It's kind of an important moment for the race.
I forgot about that,
Yeah.
Protosses might be going extinct.
ByuN
The last ones left
on.
are casters. Even them, who knows, man. Oh, we're ready, guys. Game 2 on Hardwire. Let's do this.
2022 GSL Season 1. Shopify Rebellion. ByuN. Alpha X. Zoun.
All right. That is quite a hidden Rax over at the 3rd.
So, I mean, ByuN looked a lot better, man. I'll give it to him. Had a much better engage.
I didn't like how far out he went against the Blink Stalkers. I think Zoun was very on top of that. Really,
you mean early on?
Yeah, very early before medevacs. I think it's fine at first, and sometimes you actually get a few extra shots, and suddenly the Stalkers can't keep up. But that didn't really happen. He did get whittled down, so there were still some things there that wasn't a super fan. But yeah, the waiting with the medevacs, reinforcing the army, making a very strong push, finding Zoun out of position. I think as long as Zoun stays calm. Is that going to happen to him again?
Well,
so sure.
You know, he got out-positioned, and when that happens, the damage comes in extremely quickly, right? Like, I think it was a pretty good setup overall, like, to get the drop in the main, but then to hit the natural with the siege tanks kind of in the middle. I think a lot of other players are ready for an attack at the bottom of the 3rd. And to kind of get in there and get right on top of the Robo, which is at the natural. I mean, it was a pretty big shutdown, and
it's a big deal. So the probe hasn't been able to find the barracks as of yet. One Reaper comes out, the barracks flies back towards the main. An Adept being chronoed out right now to block that incoming Reaper. And a CC in the main. I do like the CC in the main there. Make it a little bit harder to figure out what's going on.
yeah, hide your plans. I want to see what strat Zoun's going to go for, what kind of tech he wants to have in this game. You know, I think for him it's unexpected to lose a game like that.
Yeah.
And playing better against better players, maybe?
Well, could be. I think also, you know, maybe he is getting some of the... You know, I think ByuN isn't as composed as a lot of other high-end players like champions and stuff. Like, you look at most of our champions and you're like, well, this guy is like cool as a cucumber, you know, like no issue. Like you said, Rogue, him playing in GSL is like boarding a bus. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then you get ByuN, and I think he does. There's more. He's such an emotional player in general. Like, I think it does affect him a bit more.
I think he's probably the most emotional player in GSL.
Yeah.
Than maybe Creator.
Him and Creator probably. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing with ByuN is he can be very hot or very cold as far as play goes, but he's very emotional. We talked about another cast, but like, you know, I think for him, some of the best ways to improve are to kind of try to figure out how to get in the best mindset coming into this. Like, I remember asking TY when he first started casting, I'm like, was that weird for you? Were you nervous? And he's like, not at all. Not at all, because it just felt like it was the same thing as playing on stage. He's like, I'm just very used to being, you know, kind of watched and you know, and I'm like, okay, that's probably the best mindset. Oh my God. Wow. Another drop over here at the natural. He pulls away.
Okay. Blink not done quite yet. That's a little bit scary, man.
Well, that was like
that's like
fraction of a second difference, and you know, all the workers are gone.
Yeah, game-ending mistake otherwise. Really well done from ByuN there. Blink almost done. The Raven coming out for a little bit of harassment as well. Okay, cool. I like that actually quite a bit, right? Like, if they go Robo, you can save it, and in a situation like this, well, I mean, against Blink, it's a little bit scary too, right? Because if they have their stalkers nearby, sometimes you're going to lose the Raven if you go too deep. But but yeah, it's some flexibility there in the opener.
It's good to see that third coming. And I think we might just see some auto turrets thrown down over here soon.
For sure. Yeah, might be waiting just for 2.
Yeah, it makes sense. Meanwhile,
possibly wants to line it up with this as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so
try to draw the screens away.
Yeah, look at that.
And he doesn't see.
Man.
Oh, he does.
Throw an auto turret down at the same time. Beautifully done. Can pick up 3 probes, I think, from that.
And this is a lot of lost mining time.
Dude, this is really annoying. ByuN is playing a much nicer series here for sure.
And again, he's just buying time. Oh, go, 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 go.
Oh, brutal.
That was sick. That was very cool. ByuN's winning us back, Artosis.
6 kills on this Raven.
That's insane.
But yeah, ByuN is playing much better this series. Like, yeah, did not like the beginning of the day for him, but you know what? This is the series that matters the most, and he is putting it out right now.
Okay, Medivacs are going to be moving out here for a drop, and we don't know how much he's going to commit to this, but this is the ByuN we know from before. He's powering right now. He's got the third CC started. So he'll be taking a base in a little bit. But it's a later CC.
Storm coming up.
And he's still got all these tools here. He's still got this medevac with the Widowmine. And, you know, even though that Widowmine didn't do that much, it drew some attention away, and that turret did a lot. And all you need to do is have another great drop where the Widowmine comes in again in one of these moments, and you burrow it, and you can win. I don't see anything to defend over here. And this is a lot of this comes down to that Raven still being a threat, that Widowmine still being a threat. And now a third threat is generated right over here. Dude, I think ByuN's going to 2-0 this.
Yeah, it really looks that way right now. ByuN bringing up the rest of his army now. Storm is going to finish.
Where'd the Widowmine go?
He's going to need some magnificent storms here, though. Okay, that's okay, Storm. And then the rest of the army comes up, unfortunately, here. ByuN going for the kill now.
And the tanks are going to come up. He can get on top of the Robo. There's not enough stalkers here.
Well, one more storm. That's a lot of red bio, but I don't think it's going to be in time. GG.
ByuN does it.
Oh, my God.
And I'll tell you what. All you got to do is fix the little errors in your play, iron out those wrinkles, and he played 200% better than that last match against Nightmare. Well deserved. No Protosses yet. No Protosses yet. I know you guys are cheering. I know we think Protoss is too strong, but don't worry, they're not going to be ruining the round of 10 just yet.
Look, Tasteless, it's, you know that Thanos meme with the knife? It's perfect balance. 3 Terran, 3 Zerg. Let's go.
Perfect.
Zoun has to be a bit disappointed. I think
Down.
overall tonight he
Brown.
played a little bit better than ByuN, but that last series, that's where it counts, and ByuN turned it on. Showed that he still has it. It's just not as steady as it once was.
We're going to have that interview now with ByuN. Let's see how he's feeling, and he's back with us to translate. Let's get to that now.
Another Protoss goes down, and it is ByuN joining the round of 10 as the second place of this group. Congratulations. Thank you. First of all, we want to hear about how you feel after that victory today. So I guess this advancement means special to you. So how do you feel? You know, whatever the qualifier is, whatever the round of 10 is, I'm just so rejoiced that I won my match today. And I really don't care whether it be offline matches or online matches. You know, I just feel really happy when I win my match. That's all. So ByuN, you seem super happy when you beat Zoun in the final match. And you also took your revenge against him in the round of 24 on IM Katowice. Well, if we talk about IM Katowice, I feel like I'm always down in the head-to-head record against Zoun. I feel less confident, and it's always him getting the upper hand in the games. So I was quite worried before the games today. After you know, playing against him, you know, I think Zoun was definitely the better performer at the end. But when I saw the VOD after the match, you know, I felt like it was a winnable game for me. But I did make some trivial mistakes which I need to fix on. And so I realized that after the IM Katowice, I would be able to defeat him in the later match. Well, ByuN, definitely you exploited his weaknesses today. And today it felt like you had some battle of wits with the barrack placement. I mean, that barrack placement is something that I use often in my games. And you know, against in the second match, the second game against Nightmare, I was able to catch up his probe, and I realized that I would just win the game straight off, but I lost the game somehow. But I felt like because I used the barrack placement quite variously in my games, I was able to have the upper hand going against Zoun. Alright, so let's... For this IM Katowice, what experience did it give you? You know, apart from the meals, everything else was fine. You know, when I go overseas, the meals, the food is what I am most cautious of.
스타트 플레이어 팀원 전체가 모이는 거였거든요.
But you know, ever since
그래서
the
이번에 모여서
establishment of my team, this was the
인사도
first
하고
time
이게
we gathered up
람보나
together
스타일이나 이렇게
in IM
인사도
Katowice.
하고
So you know, we got to meet each other, and it was a pleasant experience.
선수들이랑 오프라인으로 만나본 게 진짜 몇 년 만인지
And I think this,
모르겠어요.
and
되게
it's been really long
반갑더라고요.
since I last
그래서
played offline games with
반갑게
foreign
인사도 하고
players.
선수들도 인사도
So you know, it
해주고
was
또
a
제가 놀란 게 뭐냐면
joyful experience meeting up with the
저희 팀
players.
자랑인데 좀 TMI 같은데
And this might be too much information.
비행기가 자주 캔슬이 됐잖아요. 돌아올 때 비행기를 좀 기다려야 되는데.
So you know, the plane tickets got cancelled quite frequently. So we had to wait a long time.
비즈니스를 끊어져가지고.
And my team actually got me a business ticket on my way back to Korea.
취소됐던 비행기가 다시 운행을 해가지고 못하게 됐지만 그래도 그런 팀에서 지원을
So you know, I'm
해준다는
really
게
happy
얼마나 이렇게
for the
기분
support I
좋은지
get from my team.
그때 한번 느낀 것 같아요.
So you know, it really means a lot to me.
듣는 이런 다양한 스토리 정말
Well, some
즐거운
various
시간입니다.
stories coming from you.
요즘
ByuN.
밸런스 논쟁도 굉장히
So you know,
뜨겁거든요.
balance,
뭐 여왕,
the topic of balance has been really hot these days.
공업 포격기 너프에
The void rate has been nerfed.
또 테란 같은 경우에
The shield battery, and for Terran, the Widow Mine has been nerfed as well. So a lot of major nerfs coming in this season. So what are your 2 cents on this topic?
프로토스의 강력한 가지수 한 가지가 이렇게 없어졌죠.
I feel like the one really big factor for Protoss is now deleted. It's out of the way. Void Ray.
안 가거든요. 근데 정찰을 안 가면 그거를 막을 수가 없어요.
You know, like before, when I go scouting against the Protoss, I just lose. But now, I think it's doable against Protoss players. So you know, Void Rays definitely are the biggest factor when it comes to the PVT. But the nerf, for the nerf, I don't think I really feel it in my games yet. It's not too big for me.
오늘 이겨서 이런하기 좀 뭐한데 사실 테란 대 프로토스전 수가 좋다고 생각하거든요.
But I still do feel like PVT, my perspective, the Protoss is favored. But I'm not going to talk about it further because I won the match today. Don't want to diss other players. Alright, so from the round of 10, it will be a full league system. So anything you want to say, ByuN?
작년 복귀했을 때부터
You know, ever since I came back from the military,
약점이 테란 대 테란전이었는데
my weakness, my flaw has been the TVT, and I think I really adapted to the TVT matchup now, and my performance has improved.
지금 테란이 2명 올라가 있잖아요.
And you know, there are 2 Terran players already in the round of 10, so I think that's good for me. However, meanwhile, I think the TVZ is really screwed up for me. It's really bad, looking bad. But there's still 2 weeks of time left for preparation. So I'm really gonna dive into that TVZ matchup from today. So today I only got to show you guys the TVP matchups. But I'm not sure if Protoss players will make it to the round of 10. But I'm gonna try to practice as much as possible till my next match. Well, ByuN saying whether you question Protoss players will be in the round of 10 or not. Alright, so that's it for the interview.
All right, well, you heard it here first, guys, from 2 former world champions in Rogue and ByuN. Protoss is favored against Zerg, and Protoss is favored against Terran. It has to be something wrong with the humans playing Protoss that they haven't won a GSL since 2017. It's been 5 years.
You're probably wondering what do Protoss players think about that? Well, we won't know because they won't get the interviews when they don't win. So it might remain a mystery, but right now, guys, we're going to Warcraft 2 race numbers, just humans and orcs.
Yeah.
Until we get a Protoss to go through. But you know what? Trap over there looking like a dark priest. I would say, first of all, yes, you can know all my sins. And then second of all, I think he's going to maybe make it out.
The solar picture looks like he was photoshopped onto that. I am not kidding. Yeah, so this group, I mean, Trap has to be able to make it out of there. We hope.
We hope.
So, yeah, it's been an interesting day. We definitely had some sloppy games. We had some great games, too. Rogue definitely looking stronger than everybody. Zoun, unfortunately, being eliminated there. It's always great to have ByuN doing well. I hope that he can keep, like, that last series, that quality of game, because I want to watch him play that well. But the other series, like the series against Nightmare, that's honestly not even... I don't expect to see that in Codes. I want better than that, you know?
I've been trying to think of a funny joke to make with these gloves. We found these gloves on the ground before the show started.
You guys have no idea how funny this is because it's like there's just these gloves were just laying on the floor.
Yeah.
And so Dave's just found them and he just
I've just been wearing
put
them.
on. He wore them to cast.
And I've been touching Dan during the cast with the gloves like this. It's
like
yeah.
he found gloves on the ground, and so he's like, "Well, I should wear these." Well, I guess
They
it
fit.
doesn't even make sense. Why would someone do
But
that?
look at how cool I look with these. I look like I could be inspecting a crime scene. I'm like, and this was the victim's phone, you know?
It's so funny to me that like they're on the ground, and like in your brain somehow you're like, I need to
I'm
wear
like, I know what I
those
need to do.
while I do my job
What
today.
I should have done is just keep these on and never talk about them, and then eventually see if other casters elsewhere are also wearing
Everyone
gloves.
starts wearing gloves.
Yeah.
That's a secret
Years
of
later,
Tasa's
they're like, what's
power."
going on here?
Oh my god.
I can't wear these things anymore. My hands are sweating like crazy.
Oh my god.
Guys, it was a good day of games today, but I want to see how many Protosses actually get to the round of 10 because, and look, this may not end up being a factor as we get closer and closer to the end. Like one Protoss does make it to the Final Four, maybe even two, but can get scary sometimes, man. New patch, you know, some things about Protoss were nerfed, and I don't know. Some would argue that Protoss weren't winning very many GSLs.
Yeah,
The last couple of years. So
2017 season 1.
let's see what happens. Guys, we're going to be back on Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you. Stay safe. Bye-bye.